Sim Racing Dan here with ISRA League Season 3, Race 5 at Road America. We're just about to go green here, heading down the very long front straight. Looks like a Mustang went off on the pace lap there in the inset, and everyone else takes off. I got caught a little bit off guard on the start, and we're green. Qualified in 8th position there, out of 9 qualifying late models. I took a gearing here, a long gearing, because I felt like it was maybe a little bit faster, and I definitely got a little bit more top end at the end of the straight, but at the cost of not as much speed coming out of turns. That turned out to be a very large mistake, as we'll see throughout this race. You can see the cars ahead of me all pulling away from me, even though I'm in their draft. Although I suppose everyone's drafting right at this point in the race. That's Matthew Shoemake ahead of me. Go a little bit sideways, a little bit wiggly under braking, but get plenty of slowness in for a nice tidy turn. And we can see in the inset, looks like Alex is going toe-to-toe with, I believe that's John, and Chem. Chem has spun it down at the end of the straight and got out of the way of everyone nicely in the Miata. And he's heading back onto track. Heading into the centripetal now. Early in the race here with the fresh tires, it was no trouble to take this centripetal. You can see I'm sawing a little bit at the wheel as it loses a little bit of grip, but they held it pretty well. Probably will do so better in a couple laps once the tires aren't quite as cold. And I must apologize to Matthew Shoemake. In the lower left inset, I've got the wrong paint job for him. So that's why when you saw that pass that he just made on John Middleton, it didn't look like the same view that you saw from the cockpit here. And there he is in the number 2 car in the inset. I just forgot to update the computer that I do the inset recording on. Heading down the front straight, right behind John Middleton, gaining a little bit on him. And I move to the right to see if I can get a pass off, but it doesn't look like I can. Here again is where that gearing is coming into play. I don't have the acceleration, even though I had a little bit of extra speed. And heading into the turn, I did not get anything on John. Had a little bit sideways into that turn, but that's what this car loves to do. And here is where you're going to see, now that the field is spread out and John isn't drafting quite as heavily off the car ahead of him, how he's pulling away despite my best efforts to keep on his tail. Very impressive job here by the Mustangs. James Mines, the current front runner in the Mustangs, is only 11 seconds behind the late model pack here, 3 laps in, so that's pretty impressive. Good job, James. And looking just at the inset here, and the Mustangs, ooh, a close one with Sean just keeping his lead there. And you can hear I'm just feathering the throttle, trying to find that limit where the car won't spin on me. That centripetal is definitely tricky stuff right there. Heading down into second for this turn. This was one where I couldn't quite decide if second or third was the right place. I guess in that case second was definitely the right place to be. Getting a better entrance there through that turn. the last turn onto the straight, but again, that gearing, I think John may have done a pretty decent job there too, because it didn't look like I had anything on him at any point. Although, I closed it down from 0.4 to 0.3 seconds behind him. And back down to 0.4, 0.5. And we take a fairly similar line through the first turn, although I used a little bit more of the track. Let's see if that gives me an advantage. Not really on that short stretch of straight. You really have to nail it, and the other guy really has to mess it up in order to get by over there. And checking out the inset as the late models head through this turn. There's this turn 3. Turn 3 after a very nasty long braking zone. And it's very tempting to take that one too hard. Oh, look at that. Did I cut the track? I don't think I did. Yeah, I did there, but I didn't cut it. I just got a little bit wide. Still, 0.3 seconds behind John here, so this is a nice close racing, just the way I like it. Keeps things good and interesting. And there you can hear my revs dropped a little bit as I pushed it a little bit too hard into the beginning of the centripetal. Decreasing radius, you know, almost getting the better of me. But you have to let up for that, otherwise you will not make it through successfully. Looks like great battles all around. At this point, the late models have managed to... Oh, I didn't take that turn very well. Had a little bit too much entry speed and didn't get on the gas nearly soon enough. That has definitely hurt me. We are skipping ahead now to lap 6, which isn't too much of a jump. That's a 2-lap jump, I believe. And we're listening to the audio now. Oh, and I just, you know, I think under braking I just went a little bit wide, and that took away the rest of my braking ability, and that was that. Now I'm way behind John Middleton, who has caught up with Jeremy Burris, it looks like. So that should be pretty exciting. Passing by some Mustangs in the pits here. That's an early pit stop. I wonder if they must have taken some damage. Looking in the inset now, you've got the Miata pack being caught up with the race leaders. That's Colin in the number 7 car, and probably David in the number 19. And splitting the Miatas just beautifully. Nice job, guys. And I'm coming up onto the Miata Battles 2 here, Chem and Mike Taylor, and they've got a "you can't do that" moment as they go off. Skipping ahead again now to lap 10, where I am in the middle of nowhere. Although I guess I've got Eric Palacio behind me, and I give it a little bit too much gas and get off wide. Oh, sorry, this is lap 18 out of 26, not lap 10. So at this point, I decide I might as well make for the pits, since I haven't had my pit stop yet, and in I go. That position 4 that I was in is sort of a false one, since I hadn't pitted yet. And I get out in 5th with John Middleton just 1 second behind me. Perfect timing for that pit exit. And he has already made his pit stop, so at this point I am ahead of him again. I guess he must have taken tires in his pit stop. I don't think I did, if I recall. And we'll see if that makes any big difference. And you can see now he, being behind me on these straights, is having no trouble keeping up, it looks like. And the inset is now Focusing on me as I head under the Toyota bridge, and you can see John's just several, maybe four car lengths behind me, I'd say. And I get past Mike Kelly here on this little straight heading on to the turn that leads to the centripetal. I managed to get a little pick off there on John. Cost him a little bit of time. Oh! And there's a mess between Den Morena and I'm not sure, the other car went spinning off before I could see who it was. And he's got himself turned back around the correct way. That happened right at the turn that I'm heading up to here. This right-hander that'll be coming up at the end of the straight. So that mess has cleared nicely long before I had to deal with it. I go a little bit hot into that turn and go a little bit wide. John is still just a second behind me, keeping up very well. It's calling in the inset. Not sure where he is, but it's probably, I think, in the second position at the moment. We got a nice turn onto the straight. But John looks like he is 0.8 seconds behind me, so he's not 0.7 seconds behind me now in this battle for 6th. And here we go, looking at me in the number 20 car again. Coming up on Julio. And let's see if I can make the pass in this brief straight section. Nope, I decided not to go for it. It's too risky. But that gives John a great opportunity. I get a lousy turn exit, of course, because I can't use the whole width of the track. And that's to John's advantage here. He is now 0.3 seconds behind me, as you can see. And that amounts to about a car and a half behind. Braking now, these late models that do not have brake lights. And John makes a great turn, great pass through that turn. I don't know how he managed that. He obviously went much wider. Oh! And he bled off with quite a bit more speed than I expected there. Almost had a massive collision rear-ending him, but managed to avoid it just barely. Locking up the brakes there, though. And now here we are on lap 20 out of 26. At this point, the centripetal should be pretty tricky. You can see the car going sideways. This is where those fresh tires of John's are definitely going to be an advantage. Looks like I need to focus my camera again. I apologize for the fuzzy picture here. It's not too out of focus, but definitely more so than I'd like. And heading down onto the straight. Once again, holding pretty steady here. John and I have been pretty closely matched the past couple races, and it's great to have a running buddy here. And that's John going on the inside of Dan, and he gets the pick on me this time. Let's see if I can get past Dan. This is an important one for me at this point, to keep up with John, and I do it, no problem. And we're jumping ahead now to lap 26. The white flag is flying, and I'm still behind John, this time by 2.5 seconds. So finishing 7th in this race out of 9th. That was a good race overall, I'd say.